Hello and welcome to Q57. This is our premier program here at Q57. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We're happy to launch our very first show here on theCUBE. Our premier show is featuring one of our very own board member, Paul Murphy. He's going to tell you a little bit about himself and his role at Cadence Bank. And we have other great guests joining us today. Our thanks to the Q57 for having us here, and we look forward to having great shows here and hope you continue to watch us and visit our website on the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Paul Murphy, welcome to our first program here on Q57.
Laura, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Well, you know, we are so pleased that you're helping us launch this new partnership with Q57. We've got 25 shows that we'll be doing here featuring individuals such as yourself. You and I have had the pleasure of knowing each other now for over, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 years. Right. You're a great Houstonian, and I want folks to know a little bit more about Paul Murphy, your role at Cadence Bank, but more importantly, our hope is to motivate and inspire people as they watch these interviews. So first of all, thank you for all you've done for the Chamber, and we're happy you're on our board now. And how impressive your role at Cadence Bank has been, and going back to your days at Amity, opening the door for the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. When we were losing our lease over in the East End, you opened the doors, Amity opened the doors for us. We've been here now over 11 years, and now continue a partnership with you and Cadence Bank. So thank you, Paul.
Well, Laura, first off, I'd just like to say how proud I am of you and the Chamber and the growth, and how pleased I am to be affiliated as a board member. I know I've got a lot to learn, but just a very much great deal of respect for everything that you all have accomplished and the many programs and the things that you're doing to help the community. As far as my role at Cadence, I feel like I've got maybe the best job in the world. I'm Chairman and CEO. We're a $12 billion bank headquartered here in Houston. And we've got a great team. I like to say at Cadence Bank, our motto is for same-day service, call by 8 p.m. So it's a little bit of a brag, but we're all about doing a good job for customers and being a good place to work. So we've made some nice strides in the last few years.
Well, you absolutely have, and you guys have gone public. I was with you guys at the New York Stock Exchange. What an exciting moment for you and your team, and a great story about Hank and how you guys, interacted at a golf, tournament, and he was a caddy there, and he'd applied for a position and didn't get it, and you encouraged him to come back. And tell us what Hank does at Cadence Bank many years later.
Well, Hank Holmes is someone I'm very proud of to have had a long-term affiliation. About 24 years we've been working together, and you got the story right. Hank started from modest beginnings, and we met through golf, and he's now the president of the bank, and he's a hardworking, smart, capable guy. He can juggle more balls than just about anybody I've ever met, and people really like working for him and working with him, and just a great leader. So we're hoping to have a lot more good years together. You
were able to recruit some top-notch bankers, but why do they want to work for Paul Murphy? Why do they want to work for Cadence Bank?
Oh, Laura, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, first off, bankers want to be at a place where they know they can do a good job for their customers. So they know I'm very serious about customer service. It's really important to me. My cell phone number is on my business card. If customers need me, I'm available. Of course, to have a chance to grow your business, you've got to have a loan approval process that's sensible and makes, is easy to deal with. Big investment in technology. So we've been able to go out and have some major wins based on our technology. So it's not just one thing, but a banker, to be successful, they've got to be able to grow their business. The bigger they can get their business, the more money they can make for themselves and their family. And like I said, I think it all starts with doing a good job for customers. It's a real advantage for us.
So when you were younger, Paul, did you think, well, one day I'm going to become a banker? What did you think you were going to do?
Well, I did. I have two uncles, a grandfather, and my mom were all bankers. Okay. So I heard a lot about banking at the dinner table at night. My dad was a lawyer, so I also gave that some consideration. Yes. But some of my earlier jobs were working for the FDIC as a co-op student, and I just kind of was always around the business. I teased my uncle and said, I really wish you'd been in the oil and gas business. I would have been better off. But all kidding aside, banking's been a great career, and I feel very fortunate.
Well, I think you've done okay, Paul, in the banking sector for sure. Growing up in high school, tell us, what were some of the things that you were involved in that you think really formed who you became in college and as a businessman?
Well, I was a solid student. I played on the tennis team. I was active in student government, local things like that. One story that might interest your viewers is I sold books one summer, door to door. It's pretty interesting. After graduating from high school, moved to Effingham, Illinois. The model is you knock on 80 doors to do 30 demos to sell 2 books a day. So you learn a lot about rejection and how things are going. It's a very canned sales model.
Yes.
But it's, for a young college student, it's all about saving money. And
Yes.
I'll tell you, Laura, I think it's sort of applicable to a lot of different businesses. You've got to have a big pipeline. You've got to talk to a lot of people. Fortunately, banking, the percentages are a lot better. We don't have to nearly as many doors to knock on to have some success.
Well, that's a great story, and we'll be right back with more from Paul Murphy of Cadence Bank. And we're back with Paul Murphy. He's with Cadence Bank and a board member of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We're so thankful to have him on our very first show here on Cube 57. So Paul, you were talking to us a little bit about some of the things you did when you were younger that helped prepare you for jobs. For folks who are watching, they may think they want to go out and someday become a chairman of the board, a CEO. Maybe they're in college, maybe they're on their career. What are some of the things that you think are critical in terms of being successful that they can practice every day?
Sure. Well, Laura, I think it is important to find a field that you like, that you have interest in.
Yes.
And I think in your studies, you're able to determine there's certain aspects that you find attractive. And so I observe that bankers who like making calls, will be successful at doing that. For
Yes.
people who are more introverted, that wouldn't be a good career path for them.
Yeah.
And so you have to think of your own skill set, your personality, the things you're interested in. And then a lot of it is just good old-fashioned work. I mean, you got to
Yes.
show up early, you got to stay late, you got to read the footnotes, it's be consistent, be persistent, have a good attitude.
Yeah.
To
And
me,
hard work matters, right? It does pay
it
off.
does matter. I mean, it's
does.
you got to show up and be there.
Yeah.
And I think attitude is something that you can't teach. I mean, people either have a good attitude and they're willing to recognize there are going to be some setbacks in life, but you can choose to be an optimist. And I think that doing so is a really a good plan.
So you were doing really well before going and starting up Cadence Bank. Again, for people who are in a comfortable situation, they have their career, why would someone like you take that huge risk, have to work significantly harder to create what is today a very successful bank? Why did you do it, and what would you say to those who are considering taking a big career move?
Well, I think it's sort of an individual decision. This was almost 9 years ago, and I was still young, early in my career. We had sold our successful business. We were affiliated with a nice group of people, but it just wasn't the same. And so the chance to be CEO again, to kind of, be helping the senior team steer through the industry and have more of an equity upside participation is something that, the American dream, really, to go out and start and grow a business. It was risky. The first couple of years, we weren't hitting our numbers. We were under a lot of pressure. There were moments where I thought, maybe we didn't make the right decision here. But then persistence pays off, and eventually we did catch the wind, and now, everyone's very pleased with the progress.
Well, I've been to a lot of great sporting events, Paul, and have been able to see some exciting happenings in the Houston area, but let me tell you how impressive it was to be on the New York Stock Exchange with your team, watching you all ring the bell, and just the sheer joy and success that you could feel it. What was that moment like for you?
Laura, it will be something I will always remember. For your viewers, we took 57 people to the opening bell ceremony, and they occurred just to make noise and be happy. And when the bell rung, kind of the highlight was Jim Cramer was giving his morning presentation, and he got distracted and said, "I felt like I'm at a soccer match."
Yes.
So, but the team that helped build the bank, that helped get us to the point where we could have a successful IPO and be there and enjoy it, I looked out, it was just my proudest moment to see, so many hardworking bankers and the team that was there. So morale at Cadence Bank today is sky high, and part of it's coming off of that. Still that whole experience is something that the team relishes and relives on a regular basis.
Yeah, and so people who know you, they know you for your integrity, that you're hardworking. But Paul Murphy has to disconnect. I know you enjoy traveling, spending time with your family, but how do you try to balance all of that? And what are some of the things that you enjoy to do when you're not on the clock?
Well, I'm a golfer. I enjoy a Saturday morning round of golf. We've got a group of...
Are you good, Paul?
I'm low average. I can hit a few good shots here and there, but it's really, if I could change one thing about my life, I'd be better at golf, that's for sure.
That's right.
But I'm not awful, but it's fun, and it's a nice combination, camaraderie, time with people, a little bit of exercise, not a real aggressive exercise, but when you do have those 3 or 4 good holes in a row, it's a great feeling. So I enjoy the game of golf.
So you have one wish between now and running off into the sunset as it relates to your career, is there like one more thing that you would like to do during your career?
It ties into your prior question. I want to be ambassador to Pebble Beach, Laura. That would be
Okay.
the perfect job for me.
Well, I think if you keep working on that golf game,
yeah.
that's a real possibility. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we are so grateful that you've made time on your schedule to join us on the board of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And you really have been with us even before I got started, if you will. And you're here with us today. Why would you take time out of your real busy schedule to be affiliated on our board?
Well, I'm impressed with the work that the board is doing, with the professionalism, with the controls, the program, especially respectful of the Emerging Leaders program that you guys have put together, and just the people that are going through that, the positive implications that is for our city. Being the spokesperson that you are, representing us on important issues, DACA and other things. So I'm very happy to be a part of it, and just totally enthused about the program content and the quality of the leadership at the Houston Hispanic Chamber.
Well, we thank you for that. And one thing that's really important as we interface with people, they always say, well, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, do you have to be Hispanic? And our response is absolutely not. And I think the diversity of our board, that we're 40% non-Hispanic, our programming and our participants, even in Emerging Leaders, that we are about Houston. And we happen to be Hispanic, and that we have so many people, so many sponsors, just like Cadence Bank, who've joined us so that we can keep Houston strong and a place to do business. So Paul Murphy, on behalf of our board of directors and everyone here on Cube 57, we want to thank you for helping us kick off our very first show.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
to be here.
And we'll be right back.